Welcome back, awesome action toy fans and subscribers. I have some Shodo toys, some Shodo box toys, Pokemon figures. These are not going to be 1/18 scale, but they will fit in with 1/18 to a degree. And with some of the other scales, maybe like the 124, 128, I will see when I open them up. They may require some assembly. Normally they do. And I've reviewed a few previously, and I'll stick a link to one or two in suggested videos. You're going to check them out. They are rather cute, the ones that before, and I really quite like them. Though I'm not really a Pokemon fan, never seen an episode in my life, or maybe I've seen a bit of an episode, I can't remember, so long ago. But I do like Shodo toys. They do some really good, like the is it Ultraman ones, some really good 1/18 scale ones as well, which are or Master Rider, which are really good. In fact, I'll stick even a link to one of my favorite ones of those into the videos as well for you to check out. Okay, so there's 5 in this set. It seems to be 4 creatures, and number 5 is an effects box, maybe? I don't know. So I am going to open these up off cam and assemble off cam, and then, because Cam doesn't mind, he's a great bloke, off camera, and then come back and show you what they are like. So I'll be back in an instant for you, and a few minutes or hours if I'm playing for me. Back in a second. Just to quickly show you, the box has the instructions inside, and they come in parts which some you need to remove from a spoon. Okay, so let me continue. I am back, and I just want to say these are fantastic, really good, and rather cheap, or here in China anyway, because minimal shipping costs when you buy from China. But they are so good. So let's go in order. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then I show the accessories that came in box 5. This guy here, you've got to put his lower leg into a joint into his foot, and then attach into the thigh. Body to body you attach, or abdomen to thorax you attach, I don't know. Attach the winged arms, the sort of tail, or the fin and tail, and then he's good to go. So his jaw opens. He can move his sort of top jaw side to side. His neck should be able to move, I think. There we go. So his neck can move too. His waist moves, and he can go side to side. The shoulders have a joint on the ball, so they can move, and also the elbow joint on the wing part moves. It's a ball joint on the hips, but he only goes out a little bit. Forwards and backwards is fine. Pretty good knee bend, and he's got a ball joint on the ankle, but there's a minimal movement on that, and the tail has movement too. Basically, when he stands up, the tail is just a third point of contact with the ground. So he stands like that. Really quite cool. Next one, number 2, was this Speedy Gonzales. He's like Sonic the Hedgehog here. Really like him a lot. He's not so big, but he looks awesome. And he actually came with a spare set of lower arms, which I've not taken off, which are bent for running. He looks really cool. Head's on the ball, so he gets forwards, backwards, side to side. He can turn. Shoulders go to 90 degrees. And then he can turn, swivel from the joint, but there's no bend in the bicep. His body's on the ball. Gets a small movement. There's a waist turn. Hips go really far out. Look at that. Joing. Forwards is pretty cool. Backwards is really good. Single joint on the knees. Oops, it's coming out. You can get around 90 degrees. God, that one's not in very tight. And then ball joint on the feet here. And he also has a toe joint, like you see in some of the Joy Toy. So he could actually, maybe see if he can do it. And now his joints are coming out again. It's got a toe joint, so in theory, you get the angle right. Can he do it? Not if his joint keeps popping out, he won't. You get the angle right, he should get 1 foot flat and then 1 foot on the toes, but I'm having difficulty finding that. There we go. Finding that sweet spot. Like that. Great little figure. I wish he had bicep articulation. You could add it, but it's, I don't think it's really worth it. It might be. I will show you size comparison with 118 and 124 in a minute to get an idea of how big or small these guys are. Last two are the reasons why I actually got these. I was going to get just these and I thought, let me actually get the whole set. I'm glad I did. The little cat thing here, fantastic, really good. He actually comes with spare back limbs, but his spare back limbs are static, so he can sit down like a cat. So he's got heads on the ball, so he has the small up and down, left, right, he can turn. His front legs, the hips go in and out, oops, and also pop out if we go too far, as I just did. They go forwards, really quite far, pop off. And there's a bend, and I keep popping his joints off again as well. Back legs, again, they go out a little bit. They go backward, that's his tail this time. They go backwards quite far. So he'd be dragging his legs across the ground, and he also has a joint as well, so they can bend. And then, as you saw, his tail looks like a missile shot off. It's on a ball joint here. He's great. You could paint him up to be fantasy. You could paint him up to be sci-fi. So much potential he's got. Such a great little figure. Really, really nice. And then lastly is this Forearm Brute that I bought. One of the other ones that I really wanted. Fantastic. So his articulation. So his head is on the ball, left, right, up, down, small side to side. Then he's got shoulder and bicep articulation, and he's got bicep swivel as well. There's wrist just turn. Now, he came with just these hands here. His trunk is forwards, backwards, side to side, and turn. His hips go really far, so full splits. Forwards is almost flat. Backwards, he gets about 4 splits again. Single knee joint, but he gets 90 degrees. And then the ankle is on the ball, so he gets like this, like this, like this. But it will pop off if you try and do tippy-toe too much. He looks fantastic, a bit cartoony in that head. But that body is actually really good for taking off and using in 118. The only bad thing I would say, if you look at the back, you see here, you can see how it's jointed here. So something like that, you could go over with modelling putty, make it match the rest of his back, and then paint over it if you wanted to. Okay, scale wise, so if I'll get a 118 figure, I will, I'll use Dark Red Knight, who I just reviewed for Fortnite. You see that she is a fair bit bigger than him, but his body is actually bigger than her body. And his body is actually quite easy to take off. So you could use it as a custom base for a 4-armed monster for 118. We see that the little cat thing is perfect for 118. So that this guy is a bit small, and the monster thing here is not too bad. That could work with 118 as a monster with a repaint. Really quite nice. If I look at 124, I will use 2 things for this. I will use my Creative Field sort of a trooper battle type. Scales really well with this. Must destroy the monsters. And if I use this guy here, he's more 124 scale in terms of size. that scales pretty well. If I use Hexagear the Governor, also scales okay. Now, if I show the accessories they came with in the 5th box, so this guy didn't come with any. Oh, sorry, that's a lie. He came with this like almost like a fireball. Who you can do it this way, which is pretty cool. The cat came with this background, which is pretty naff if you ask me. It's like, hey, look, I've got this fancy starry background. I never played the game. Maybe it's something to do with Pokemon, but this guy came with pretty cool accessory. What am I missing over here? Okay, he came with this stand, which has 2 uses. One, it's a flight stand. Oops. So if I get him balanced right, he can fly, and that looks pretty cool. And 2, if you take this out and you take, where's it gone? His tail out. That is supposed to fit in here to make it look like, there we go, he's burrowed into the ground. Awesome. Not just that, it works as a standalone sort of crater anyway, so that's really quite cool. And then our 4-armed guy here, he came with 4 pairs of hands. So 2 are interesting. They're not like fists, they're like this, like a leopard fist and Kung Fu fist. You can see here. Then 2 are more like the chop. The judo chop. Hands here. Really good set. I'm really happy I picked this up. I am tempted to get a couple more of him because I think the potential there is for customs is really big for 118. In fact, if I look at this system here, but I think the system is different. Let me see. Yeah, see, this is the pegs on the bottom. This one, the pegs on the top. But in theory, you could put a peg there, make him bigger, and you've got this like 4-armed brute, which would be pretty cool. Require a bit of work, but that could be done. So they scale sort of in between 118 and 124. I think the little cat thing scales perfectly for 118, whether you want to use it for sci-fi. It's like one of those strange cat things from Star Wars Rebels. Or you want to use it for fantasy. I think it scales really, really well. Great Shodo Pokémon set. Figures set. I'm really glad I picked up. I think it's well worth picking up. This, because I think there's so much potential here for customs. There's play potential as well. There's loads of potential. For your collection, for many different things. I think it's definitely worth picking up. This is Awesome Action Toys. I am signing out saying please like, share and subscribe. And I'll be back very soon with some more Awesome Action Toy video reviews for you. Stay happy, keep collecting, and check out the rest of my content on the channel. Bye-bye.